I think that art is never too personal, and it makes the work, I think, much more alive. If I would be Brazilian, it would be colorful, I think. And I also live in Brazil, and slowly sometimes I use yellow or blue, and it's just wow. Because actually the different shades in whites are already colorful for me, or grays, or blacks. If you grow up with snow on the ground, your eye becomes very sensitive to that color. And that forms very early on in life. You're more sensitive to different colors, or the way you look at things. You see, like you look at some of the sculptures in here, they're quite high up. The reason is also because I grew up in the mountains. We all look up.
The first time that I went to his home in the Lower Engadin in Switzerland, I was there for, I guess, 2 or 3 days and saw everything that there was to see. And you so quickly realise how this very secluded valley just ripples through his life. He keeps coming back to snow. He keeps coming back to the grey of those mountains, and they are absolutely inescapable.
My favorite material is plaster because it dries very fast. It has the consistency of snow or ice. It also has the color. To mix plaster and try to make a snowball at a certain moment after it's almost dry and use it as a snowball, it's just like using snow.
It was really important for us to look at all the material that Knott uses and the way that he works with craftspeople and artisans around the world. So everywhere he goes, he's working with exceptional people, but always people who are working with their hands.
Every time you travel, on all your travels, it influences you. And it's actually, you just have to open up. So it's a very, very important aspect to my work. Living in China, I think, of course, you want to do China. And I went about 2 years ago to this city called Qingdezheng. And this whole city is a city of ceramics. Ceramics have been doing that for thousands of years. And of course, I was intrigued. Now, I didn't know that actually when you do the work, you actually have pretty much no control over it. So like these works took like 2 years. I never worked so hard on anything, and some of them came out in one piece out of the kiln. The other ones simply exploded in the kiln because they were so big. At the beginning, I was simply doing chimneys, and then afterwards I was trying to make a head. But now they kind of meet one on top of the other, so you have like a head and a chimney.
I think we were attracted to Knott Vital's work because he's an artist who's really engaged with the natural world and with processes in the natural world, with walking. Knott had a very good sense of the kind of the landscape here, the geography of this place. And so a lot of the outdoor works kind of work with those ideas.
This is a big challenge here. It's not only the size, it's also the beauty, and that's what I really like about this place.
When Knott first suggested making a bridge for this particular place, everybody wanted it to happen. It's very interesting. And the simplicity of his bridge is just extraordinary. It's basically a kind of almost like a curl of paper. And so his bridge is functional, but it's also going to a kind of quite a gloomy area of woodland because it's aluminium, polished aluminium, and it reflects light, so it's going to sort of shine and shimmer.
It's not really a bridge in the conventional way, but like it's more like a sculpture, which is part of what I like to do, which is, I call it scarge, which is a symbiosis between sculpture and architecture.
The way that Knott thinks is unlike anybody I've ever met in my life. He has a singular voice. There's nobody else making work like him. And the idea of bringing these objects into this environment was just a really exciting proposition.